What's happening with this pandemic is rocking America to the core. But many of the ways that it's rocking us to the core are ways that we needed to be rocked to the core. We have a culture that is so inundated by a constant barrage of ultimately meaningless preoccupations. Not now. It's a moment of forced reflection. And some of the things we're reflecting on, we really need to reflect on. Who among us isn't having deeper conversations, thinking about what most matters, forgiving some things, atoning some things, apologizing for some things? And some of those things are painful. But emotions detox, just like the body detoxes, stuff has to come up in order to be released. Part of the pain of this moment is all of the issues that are coming up for review. A lot of what comes up for review is things in our past that embarrass us or humiliate us, or things that we feel remorse, regret, things that we cringe to even remember. But I want to share a principle from the Course in Miracles with you. It says that in any given moment that we did something stupid, we said something we wish we hadn't said, or done something we wish we hadn't done, or didn't say something, or didn't do something, whatever it is that then led to an outcome that caused us suffering, or perhaps even caused suffering for other people, that we can actually go back in our minds to that moment and recognize that we chose wrongly. When you make amends and admit the exact nature of your wrongs, the Course in Miracles says that you can go back to that moment when you did what you wish you hadn't done, and you can choose again. You can recognize that the spirit of truth and goodness and love in you did not direct your behavior in that moment. And you can have a kind of cosmic reset button. This is really, really significant because we need to drop a lot of baggage from the past. We need to be new and different people when this thing is over. The only hope for the world is that we change. We need to become a different world than we were leading up to this, because who we collectively were is part of what created this, not the virus itself. But the fact, for instance, that in this country we were so unprepared for it. We were so unprepared for it because our government has basically been hijacked by forces that do not put the health and well-being of the American people first. That only happened because the American people were distracted. The American people were looking elsewhere. The American people weren't thinking about these things. We were childish. And on the other side of this, we're going to be different men and different women, and different global citizens and different American citizens. And we're going to realize that not looking at political issues is simply not an option anymore, because this time it was a pandemic, next time it could be a nuclear disaster, the next time it could be a weather disaster, and we will not tolerate that option for our future. And if you join with me in that thought, then that means that the digging now, even the pain of that digging that we're going through, is important. We can let go a lot of baggage during these days and not take them with us. And a lot of that baggage is saying some things we need to say, hearing some things we need to hear, having some conversations we need to have. We need some radical, authentic truth-telling right now with each other, within ourselves, and with the God of our understanding. We need to become co-creators of a new and different civilization on the other side of this. We have behaved irresponsibly. We have behaved without reverence to each other, to animals, to people, to the earth itself. But we can choose another way. The Course in Miracles says that's when the breakthroughs happen, when we consider the possibility there might be another way. You know, there was talk about, I've heard a couple of people talking about how the pollution right now is so much less in certain areas of China, that as many people died of the virus, that more lives than have died from the virus are now going to be saved because of the lack of the environmental toxins. We can actually have a world where there's more blue sky and clean air and clean water. We can actually have a world in which there's not, 100, right now we have 1 billion people on this planet who live $1.25 and less a day. We have another billion on top of that who live on $2 and less a day. We had, before this even happened, 40% of Americans who could not handle a $400 unexpected expenditure. And now the level of despair, the level of desperation, tomorrow is rent day. This was so irresponsible that the leaders of our economy, thank you very much. The leaders of our economy. Yeah, really? Well, what do we have here, guys? 40%. Everybody's been saying, I've said this a lot on the campaign trail, our economy is so good, but the economy is so good. Can you call an economy good? You can say a lot of things about it. I'm a philosopher. Don't talk the word good too casually around me. No, it's not good if 40% of your people could not handle a $400 unexpected expenditure, because that unexpected expenditure is now here. And then we have a corporate bailout that does more to bail out Wall Street than Main Street. It's so morally repugnant. Can we spend this time going deep and thinking about some of these things? We could have a country in which every child had the best education in the world, where every school was a palace of learning and culture and the arts. We could have a country where everybody had free access to higher education or higher education in technical schools. We could have a country in which everybody has health care. We could have a country in which nobody is burdened by these college loans. And everybody says, where would we get the money? Where do you think we got the money for that bailout? It's all a ruse. We don't have the money to help people thrive. So I am asking you, are you willing not only to consider the possibility that we could have it, but to stand for it? A society on the other side of this where we change, where the guiding light for all public policy is not short-term profit for some corporate entities, but rather that which would make people thrive. Bottom up rather than trickle-down economics. Do you know how much creativity and productivity and happiness would be released if every child had a world-class education in this country? Everybody had access to higher education. Everybody had access to free health care. Everybody had a removal of that college loan debt. Do you know how much creativity and how much productivity and how much ingenuity and excitement? And you talk about an amazing economy, that's how you get an amazing economy. This is a really good time to think about what we want. You want to grow your economy? Help your people. We're standing at a crossroads. Some people say, well, there are going to be really good things on the other side of this. Well, there might be. I'm certainly one standing on that. But that is not a guarantee. Right now, the man who heads Hungary is passing laws to enable him to rule by decree. Don't kid yourself that there's not that kind of thinking going on in the highest regions of our government as well. William Barr tried to step out on that cliff, and senators, Republican and Democrat, said, don't even think about it. But they tried. They put it out there. Taking away a little constitutional freedom here, taking away a little constitutional freedom there. What do you want? What kind of an America do you want? I know this is a painful time, personally. Sometimes the painful times are the deep times. Go deep. I know we're all crying. My heart is really older people are experiencing this differently than younger people because, Carl Jung said that the failure to deal with the subject of life, of death, the failure to deal with the subject of death robs the second half of life of its meaning. Once you get to a certain age, you can see death on the horizon and, we had those experiences. Some people haven't had yet. My heart breaks. All of our hearts break at what so many people are going through right now, the fear that we're all going through. But man, this is still the time for us to go deep. Really deep. Think, read, feel, cry. It's like something beautiful is going to come from this mulch. I can feel it. Everybody I know can feel it. I'll see you later.